E buonasera. So, after Safaracid, this little one comes back and nobody knows in history in the US what she did because she's not the same person. They don't understand the genetic graft and they don't understand the limits to growth of Gabor. Now, Yulia Pesheva and the others who are university professors like Martin Snowden are not mentally retarded or in the United Nations or in Italy or La Sapienza or in Russia and Saudi Arabia where my original blood comes from, my origins. Nobody is stupid to bring back a dead baby after Sulfuracid 221 to Delft-Number Holland. You speak about a proverbial share that went to the shits after Sulfuracid on the Ghost Lines. That's all news on the news, the nails, around the world. You speak about losses of intel, about ships crashing, and things like that. That's what happened on the coastlines in the US to that girl that I am replacing. You do not understand that after Sulfuracid, because you're too retarded as human beings in the US, to understand what the rest of the world in those 80 countries connected dots worldwide global is. So while I am a cause célèbre in 80 countries, where I was connected dots worldwide to globals, in the US, you want to kill me again. And you're happy, enjoy seeing me suffer after Sulfuracid, knowing that I'm a replacement child with the nails. Because you are what you fucking are. No PhDs will reopen that shit on the coastlines, because they're my buildings at La Sapienza, and they're my buildings in Woolwich. You're not space breakers, you're not scientists, you're not shit like Jamila, like I was. That girl was Sulfuracided, and I replaced her. What they wanted to show after Sulfuracid is that there are blues, that my crumbs are ubermensch in Western Europe. That's your asswipe 221 after the famous smashed in head on the coastlines of Sulfuracid. I came back to life. That's your prophecy of 221. So while I get the blessings of Opus Dei and everyone else, and it's all news on the news and nails, you're the satanists and the bitches and the cheap whores. Considering you don't have enough responsibility to reopen my buildings, or to redo that shit on the coastlines with those guys with the platinum hairs, and considering you get offended by the most obvious child that is standing in front of you, speaking to you about the crumbs of that girl after Sulfuracid, it tells me in California that not only you don't have an iota of a brain, but you have not an iota of responsibility left or maturity to do what is correct. You have college degrees, but you don't understand Disneyland. You're pathetic after Sulfuracid. You don't know how to do your own shit. You complain that losses of intel are there. And instead of doing what's patriotic, which would be what the CIA did, who fell with me with that shit with the platinum hair, you took the baby on her little crawlies and sent psychos after her because after all, your fucking pompous shit from universities cannot reopen my shit. I'm really sorry. Sciences unite. The only problem is that girl was the leader of that San Francisco. That's why I'm here. After Sulfuracid, you idiotic shithead. As long as somebody in San Francisco can reopen those buildings of Jamila, you're welcome. I didn't do cancer. Julieta Novoa, mass media in Brussels, was saying that cancer was the cheap shit of Jamila. They were just saying it was good. Call me Bin Laden again, because you cheap assholes feel special about yourself. I'll make you feel special after Sulfuracid in this format. 221 asswipe, ballerina. That's all news on the news, the nails, you retarded people in Fresno and Frisco. And that's what the coastlines are so fucking paying for that shit. Losses. So when you speak about space breaks and science breaks, don't speak to me about it. I literally come back from the dead. Sulfuracid. But if you don't understand what I did and why I came back like a tripod, that's who you are. That's why they have the Hague of Dirk-Jan van Dam, the Bureau de Veritas, Roman Tribunal, Western European Roman Tribunal, for your extras. The hate already happened. All the hate happened. The emptiness already happened. You won't change it. You are angry. The bitch is dead. Why does it continue without her with the platinum hairs or the falls? Because that's how intelligence operates. From the very beginning to the end. It didn't happen in a split second. On 92, 92 and above of the parents or retirement, that was elsewhere. And you were where? Making judgments with your assholes. and your bitches. This is the vitriol that I hear from the entire Western Europe, from the entire London, from the entire Russia, and from the entire Arabias and the world towards the US and towards your greatnesses, your assholes in California, that you still claim you are the best. Just for me. Why did they bring back a dead baby? So you could sit there and judge me? You don't even know how a genetic graft is, a particular corn cob after sulfur acid? You don't understand what the losses on the coastlines were? You still haven't understood the Delft plumbing time that crashed in Western Europe and around the world in the UN? So why they brought me back after sulfur acid? To have your fucking ego in my face and tits and ass, your smelliness and your hate? And add the Roman tribunal, the German and Western European tribunal, 250 pages of psycho names that you sent to Frisco against me. I'm a piece of walking paper. 221. For all the abuse, for what? What was Jamila famous for? What you fucking famous for on the coastlines? The losses. You're pissed off that that girl wasn't alone. You're pissed off that the ship went down with her. Guess what? Mermaid is old news on the news. You fucked up piece of shit. You're gonna change nothing. Every building in Massachusetts, in Issa and in Nassau that is empty, in Massachusetts, in DC, and in parts of California is my fucking building. The same at La Sapienza and the same place in Woolwich, in Moscow, Cairo and Saudi Arabia. Not some fucked up cancer in New York. Not some fucked up cancer in fucking Poland. That's empty. Julieta Novoa saying that that shit's the pink shit. You telling me you still have pretenses for the old news on the news? That you sulfur acided on the coastlines? And you wonder why they made negatives out of me in Western Europe. Blues and pink. You don't even know how that happened after sulfur acid. So shut your fucking mouth. Intelligence. Delve. That changed the world. History in the UN. History for the Chinese. You killed that girl with sulfur acid. I can't even walk a fucking straight line in the US without having some bitch ass complain about them. They compare themselves to Czechoslovakia, Poland, and Romania. And even over there at Kangoo, council was empty, and the internationals were spitting at Pole Exit and Article 7. Another fucking country like Romania and Poland with no fucking rights. The brother of the mother was the head of sciences. And Poland, at Warsaw University. He's 96 years old. The cousin of the father was the head of sciences in Cairo. Your mirror is Moscow. Your mirror is Saudi Arabia. Don't you get it? Non-existent mirror. Puntino, 2-1. Your glorious kill. Then you couldn't handle it. You say you know. I know. What about knowledge? Yeah, we know. Then why is that knowledge empty? And more than knowledge. The space talk. True, I was in lowlands like Gabor before. Gabor did Prisoner's Dilemma. You could see it from fucking China on the coastlines. We didn't like the Mossad. Who the fuck likes the Mossad? You think the CIA likes the Mossad? You think the CIA likes being second fiddle to Israel? To the Jews? Do you think your Western Europe, Germany does? Of course. Or maybe Poland. Or Romania. You don't know even geography. Why don't you send your Polish to Germany, or to England, or to Italy, like right after World War II? Why ask that 47 countries, 46 of them voted for Poland to be out of the European Union with Article 7 and Polexit? They could only get Article 7. So out of 47 countries in the European Union, there's only 46. 46 voted against Poland. Polexit. Don't you know how to read? It took them 15 years to prove that they're worthy to be in the European Union. Because they're sycophants. Don't even know how to read the newspaper. In the US, you don't know how to read newspapers. You don't know how to go to kindergarten at the age of 5 and understand basic European Union history. Or current news on the news, on the television. Yeah, no. The radio offends you in the US. Especially after sulfur acid. That is what intelligence is. If you do sulfur acid and you could see it from China, what they saying? There's losses. Why do you have the pretenses for the losses when you yourself didn't do it? 221 Delft, Holland, Bloemendam, literally after sulfur acid. Why did I come back? To show how stupid the Californians are? Probably. You say behavioral, then stop sending your psychos to me, because we'll stick in the Roman and German tribunals, federales, against your cheap shit after sulfur acid. And we did. Ci metti cazzo to get married, to have a child nowadays. George wasn't my husband. Not on the flyings, beyond the library on the mountains, not on the runnings on the hills, aboves, behinds, and beyonds. On the hills. And then the dead baby on the ground. To me, and that was me, still hanging benches for the barons. Hanging. You are ugly people. And it's not an issue of intelligence anymore in the US. It's an issue of knowing the storyline and hating the girl for that. Because you didn't do it. She came back for a blip out. She connected the dots worldwide to globals with those guys. Whether they fell with her, whether they have the plump hairs with her, it doesn't matter. But she's not the same capacity as the original Jamila, is she, after sulfur acid? They were saying miracle happened after the rompicabezas and sulfur acid and the smashed and had. She has Ubermensch in Western Europe. How did that happen? What happened with the limits to growth of Gabor, Club of Rome? That's old news on the news. They call them eggs. But my question to you is, you're civilians. You go to college. If you get sulfur-acided, do you think they'll bring you back in pink and blues? No, they didn't. And that was the science part. My part. My part that you buried on the coastlines. And I came back to let you know that that's all news on around the capital cities. That's why they call me Roman. That's why they give me the number 221 Delft. That's why I exist. I existed in 80 countries, connect the dots worldwide with those guys. On the Grolies and Little Grolies. And the Grolies and Little Grolies. To defend the barons, mine, because I was on the flyings and the runnings and the Grolies and Little Grolies after sulfur acid. And you're still sitting there and telling me that you're intelligent. You this, you that. You have an easy life. You don't know what the fuck hardship is. You don't understand what it means to fly that many times around the world and defend the barons on 92 and above, beyond the library, above, behind and beyond on the hills that many times. And for you, everything's easy. Sit on your fat ass. But that shit that you killed on the coastlines, which was mine, is empty. Those guys will never give it back to you. Not in La Sapienza, not in NASA, and not in ESA. And if you're speaking about Opus Dei, they were always interested in technology and space science. Well, that's exactly what Jamila did when she was alive, you fucking deniers. But probably because I have no pretenses. I am not that girl. I have no pretenses. There's a Scotland film to stay and roll for a diamond. And that's not how you make Ubermensch after sulfur acid. It's unusual what they did with that girl. It's intelligence. The coastlines, they lost the intel. You had the intelligence before, and eventually with time, what did you do? I'm multitasking, working on the coastlines, you sulfur acided it. I came back like this as a phoenix. You sat there, particular corn cob, and there's blues. That's what I was trying to tell the idiots here. There was something behind that girl with those eggs. But I didn't have pretenses. I was thinking about the parents. I was doing connected dots with wise to globals for myself to keep my own fucking sanity with those guys. For the parents, it's something else on retirements at Fresno. The parents are born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. Pieshitz, Russian, and Norilsk, Turk. That's an Arctic. Something like that. Let's give some geography. Easy for both parents. Saudi, Turk, Russian. Very few Polish go to Pieshitz for pioneer camps. Very few. In fact, no one. But then again, the history of the Eastern Bloc was a little different, wasn't it? Poland. After all, your universities of sciences are run by the brother of the mother for he's 96, 98 years old. So while you're doing your school of nauki, of sciences, and the brothers and mothers looking at me like this and says, darling, your mir, your space comes from Moscow and not Poland. What do you think that fucking means, Julieta Novoa? Mass media Belgium. At the age of 5, Colombian friend. In elementary primary schools. That was a job after all. Mass media in Brussels, Julieta Novoa. Mademoiselle Colombia, throughout schools, free schooling. I went to school for free. Even high school with the president's kids. I preferred St. George's. 10,000 students. I didn't like St. Stephen's. Why? Well, technically, because I already had been through sulfur acid on the coastlines and there's the Scott landfill. Intelligence. So how did they do this limits to growth with those geniuses in Western Europe? Oobies? After sulfur acid. How the fuck did that happen, geniuses in the US? I'm not selling you shit after fucking sulfur acid. We're doing history out of the sulfur acid. And we did. It's all news on the news with the Chinese and the UN alone for me. You can't change that. You can't change sulfur acid and you can't change the mermaid that happened all over the world. Long before the sulfur acid happened. Why? Because we could see it coming. We could see your beauty eyes. So what's lost is lost forever and ever. You are murderers, killers, assassins, and satanists on the coastlines after sulfur acid. And no amount of Opus Dei, no amount of Catholics, no amount of Brett's inner circles of Martin Snowden, no head of sciences with long hairs since I was 5 years old in the basements in the UN and all the other corporations, no amount of Russia, no amount of Arabia, no amount of my own enemies, the Germans, thinking that I'm some fucked up miracle reborn after sulfur acid, including not only Basler, their NASA, Verhoeven, the Nazi skins, Huren, Amerikanisch. This has happened so many motherfucking times. And to make it look rosy through me. Yeah, let's get on. Let's get on with it. You lost that shit. There's a ship over there that has platinum hairs. The CIA is like this. There are people with big heads like this on both sides of the coastlines and the US with me. And I'm there that's crippled. You were a leader. Leader in what? After sulfur acid? Leader in what? That shit was yours. Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know I had sulfur acid. I didn't know I had eggs. I don't know about worldwide to globals connect adults. Of course I did. But I had no pretenses like you assholes. I'm responsible enough to say to you that if you are a patriot, then start using your head rather than your fucking bitches. And stop sending me psychos, Mademoiselle Famouses. And you speak about cause celebre. I'll give you cause celebre in a split second. That's all news on the news, the nails. And don't you even bother with the barons. Pieshits and Norris, got the age of 5, pioneer gumps. Directorates, D1s, humanitarian relief services, jobs, hanging benches of Laura Quintus and Natalie Direct. Natalie Direct, I grew up with her at the age of 5. Laura Quintus, I grew up with her at the age of 5. How many times? How many flyings? How many runnings? How many crawlies? Crabby. Crawley to literal crawlies of me after sulfur acid out of Fresno. I used to work on the coastlines. If you believe that the intelligence of Fresno that they claim till today is the intelligence of Fresno, go ahead. They have intel, but it's not the one they claim. You're just low scum criminals, just like Laura Quintus used to say to me since I was 5 years old, ages ago. You're not only criminals and liars. You're disgusting people. You're judgmental. You go to college. You speak about space breaks and history. Then when you smashed the head of that girl on the coastlines, you wanted to bury me alive. I came back like this, not saying a word. Everyone else on the planet was speaking about it. Made a huge fuss about a dead baby. You sent your psychos. Fresno Frisco. You're bitches. We know who you are at Dolores Shelter. We know who you are in Fresno. We even know who you are on the coastlines. And now she has palm hairs and fell with her long ago, ship and all. Manhattan Project of the 21st century. 221. The July 20 of 221. The bridges in DC on July 20 that was shut down. The old CIA archive from the new CIA archives. You can go on the bridge, but the big ships can't go anymore. Just small yachts. Shut down on July 20, that bridge, my birthday. What about the other bridges around the world, which have the same bullet holes, who knows what else? Okay, that was us on the coastlines. That's intel, law says. I used to borrow a Great Share. Great Share where? You're gonna bless that girl from King to coming back. You still hate me. Then you speak about sending psychos, sending this. Oh, but she's like a frail little thing. If you could stop sending your fucking psychos to the dead one, it would be an improvement, US. The little baby suffering around the world connected us worldwide to globals after sulfur acid. The Scotland film. The fuck? What about the father and the mother in Fresno retirements? He had an injection in the lower part of his stomach at the age of almost 76. Mama was taken at 80 with a fake obituary. From Fresno to Poland, Poland to Russia. With the rule of law of Natalie Direct. Cleanest record in the Eastern Bloc. Alla vegetable eggs in Article 7. Get timing of psychopaths. In other words, I knew this shit when I was 5 years old. Tell me, was it Interpol, the nails in London? Looking at me like, every time they see me? Like, yeah, look at that shit. What about the parents? You go to college. You wonder why the CIA or the Intel brings back a point in history 2-1 that was crunched up and erased. You don't understand the losses. You don't understand the weight of those losses. And you're speaking about the weight of the parents? And you speak about, say, Asimone Ordine, screw psychoanalysis with this. They're nuts. I'm bad. Look at my tits. Look, I got a college degree. I got boyfriends. I don't give a fucking shit. Reopen my shit, bitch. That's all. And keep your boyfriends. Keep your divorces. George wasn't even my husband. I was too busy. Flies, runnings. I didn't have time to shit, piss, or fart according to the whole fucking world. Wherever she was flying or runnings. Around the world. Now, she's not exactly herself. She has to suffer acid. She's a tripod replacement child. Blah, 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 blah. I'll pick on her. What are you, stupid after the Hague? Instead of looking at the losses and understanding why there were losses of Intel after sulfur acid, why the CIA has the problem had fallen with her and the others, you shouldn't as well. Terrorist. You are the terrorist. And I don't like the Mossad either, if that's what you're wondering about for 9/11. Everyone's famous for their own shape. But you cannot. Now, it's not a question that I'm a teacher, because a teacher, I ain't. But I'm 50 years old. 50. Okay. Sometimes, I get some part-time job here. I did trackings for 4 years. Yeah? 5 times to Moscow, 3 months on the East Coast. Mostly DC and Langley, a week in New York. London 13 times, also internationals. A week or a month a year for 4 years. And I was in San Francisco. Then I went to a European Union. I moved my shit to Rome. I got my shit to Berlin. Not Poland. No one goes to the Eastern Bloc to live there in Romania and Poland. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for breaking your bubble. I'm tired of your bitchiness, of your verbal stupidity. For the verbal stupidity coming out of Fresno with those conferences with the 5X Pros. For the parents? For 20 years? Not only are you want to be accomplices? You're accessories. You're accomplices in my eyes too. And you see what's funny about the intelligence communities. They can see right through you bitches. Because you ain't Intel. If you think that the Intel in Fresno is the Intel, it's not Intel. It's their Intel in Fresno. But it's not that Intel. It ain't the Intel of Laura Quintus and Natalie Direct in the Supreme Court defending both parents. It's your Intel Fresnos. Buddies, and ours, girlfriends, and everyone else. And another thing about the coastlines, considering that this happened 1,000,000 times in cacophony around the capital cities, and I already had sulfur acid, and there's a little point to Scotland film, so reopen my fucking buildings, because they're getting emptier. That's how the CIA lost Intel. You asshole. Take responsibility for your lack of action. And don't look at the little baby that was brought back in a blimping time genetically in a genetic freak school in the US, and saying to her, this is Scotland film. And then I have to sit there, kiss your ass and say, apologies. Apologies for what? You got a limousine? Good for you. You got money? Good for you. You got a PhD? Very good for you. You have a nice house? Good for you. So do I in Rome. In fact, I probably have more than $500,000 in 5 different banks in Western Europe now. They did investments, this. I got out of Fresno with nothing. I go to Western Europe, they got showering with me with fucking investments. International agents in international banks. Not Polish. I can't touch this shit until I'm on retirement. Why? Now you know who you are. Who you are. Not a dead baby. And don't you compare yourselves to that shit. Because after sulfur acid, no one's going to bring back net pink, net blues, with the scientists. With those empty buildings of Jamila. And as for the father and the mother and their jobs as directorates of humanitarian relief services in 160, 180 countries for him, 140 countries for her. Certainty. You get on a helicopter and start dropping aid. You have that strength to save the planet with work. You ugly inside. All those flyings beyond the library, other locations, all those runnings on the hills, above, behinds, and even beyond. Those are the hills. And what's this on the ground? The cruelties of a crippled child after suffering acid? You're making me feel good inside. Oh, she was blessed. She was blessed by everyone else. Yeah, by everybody else, motherfucker. But I get this is a Blimpentine 2-2-1.